am convinced now. I think it's happening. We've seen too many signs. F-Zero 99 got made. We got a bunch of releases of old F-Zero games on NSO. We're seeing the stars align. It couldn't be more obvious that we are getting a new F-Zero game soon, possibly as early as next year. I think it's going to be one of the last major games on the Switch. I definitely think they're gearing up for an announcement. And what's more, they're hinting that they're going to produce a new one. Like, there's just been too many signs for that. F-Zero 99 was a really good indication of what they intend to do. And now we can I think it's safe to say that it has entered production and that we are going to see it. It just remains a matter of just like what exactly is this project going to be like, and I do think considering 99 and what that game was like, this will be an internally developed Nintendo title, right? It will be worked on by someone who's passionate about the IP. I think a bunch of people involved with F-Zero have retired, actually. So I don't know who could be on board with it. The Mario Kart guys, Yabuki. Like, are they gonna do this before they do Mario Kart 9? Like, is it gonna be someone else? Like, what exactly is happening here? Like, who's on board with F-Zero? Like, who could be producing this? Like, I guess they own Next Level Games now. Like, could they be having them do it? Like, Retro? Like, I don't know. But like, I do think it's like their internal like Nintendo proper team, right? What used to be called EAD. I can never remember what they're called now, but what used to be called EAD, like, uh, they have someone putting a lot of money and effort into an F-Zero revival, and I couldn't be more excited. I loved F-Zero X, and unfortunately, we never got any good games after that. But F-Zero X was a phenomenal experience and one of my all-time favorite N64 games. So seeing that come back is really exciting to me. But it remains to be seen, what exactly could they do with an F-Zero X2? Like, what exactly are they going to do? Are they going to make the tracks more intense? Are they going to make the cars faster? Like, what exactly could they do with this? Like, they're always talking about, like, we need something new. We need something new. So I really wonder, like, what could possibly be something that makes F-Zero interesting? And I do think we have a couple of ideas already. Like, when it comes to, the history of F-Zero, the DD version. I don't remember what it's called, but F-Zero X did have an expansion that has never seen a Western release that had a lot of interesting features added onto it. Like, most notably, a track editor, right? To me, that's like a really big, interesting thing that could really set F-Zero apart from other racing games. If it had a fully fleshed out futuristic track editor where you can like just create loops, create jumps, make the track as long as you want, make shortcuts, do whatever, have this really fleshed out, like, interesting nuance Mario Maker style like track editor, and then race online with it with a bunch of other people, up to 30 players. That could be mind blowing. That could be really, really interesting. I do think that's what I want to see, but that's technically something they did back in the 90s, right? I don't know how fleshed out the track editor for that game was, but it's always been something that I've always wanted to see. And first of all, we need that game on NSO. Like, I would love to get like proper localized versions of all these NSO N64 games that we never got, but because the DD bombed there, right? But there are a number of like really interesting games that came out from that period. So I would like to see them. I would like to see them come out. But one of the things that I do think needs to change, though, is like the actual core gameplay, because I think that's what Nintendo's means when they say they want something unique and new. Like, everybody keeps saying that like they have to like do the same thing over and over again, but I really don't think that's in their best interest. I really do think there should be like some major gameplay hook or some change or something. And I imagine that's what they're getting fired up about this. Like, how to set F-Zero X2 apart from its competitors. They set it apart from other futuristic racing games, like from a gameplay sense. And I think the core gameplay won't change because it doesn't make sense to change it. But I do think your vehicle will have some kind of ability that it didn't have previously. And I'm kind of wondering what that could possibly be. Could it be flying? Could it be going underwater? Can you go over the water? Right? Maybe like in certain tracks you like dive into the ocean and you can just like kind of go on top of it or go under and then just like use it like a submarine or something like that. As opposed to like the way Mario Kart does it where you just sink, right? Like there could be all sorts of like crazy things they do. I don't think they'll do items. Like I think Mario Kart has like the item thing on lockdown. Like it should be like a more hardcore experience that caters to like, people who love X. It's just you and your skill on the track, right? So the boost system is like a brilliant thing that should not be removed. But what else could they add to it? What else could they do to make the experience feel fresh and exciting? I really don't know. No idea at all. Like other than this idea that like, oh well, they could just do what they've already done. It's really exciting. Like I really think we could see something like really cool and interesting here. The fact that they're being so cagey about it, this reminds me of like when they were building up to Kid Icarus Uprising coming out, right? Because we knew it was coming from like 2007 or so. Factor 5 pitched their thing. There were rumors about it for years and years until it came out in 2012 on the 3DS. Radically different than anybody experienced, anybody expected, and it turned out to be one of the best games on the system, right? Like I think this might be something similar. I think they might be trying to make a racing game that surpasses Mario Kart 8 in a lot of ways, right? Like this might be a tech demo for Mario Kart 9 in a lot of respects, right? We might see something really cool and interesting out of this. I really can't imagine what it's gonna be though. Like that's my big thing going into this and researching this and like thinking about it and looking at like everything they're focusing on. The NSO games like released featured like Ryu Suzaku, the new Captain Falcon, the guy from the anime, Rick Wheeler, he was known in the dub. Uh, I don't know, are we gonna see more with the characters? Like, is that possible? Are we gonna get more characterization like we did with GX? Are we gonna get a story mode? Like, are we gonna get a re-release of the anime? Are we gonna get an English dub? Like a full English dub of that series? It was canceled halfway through production. Uh, like, are we? Like, it's it's one of those things. One of those things. I don't know what we can expect from Nintendo going forward. It seems like one of those weird periods in which we're going through a bit of a transition, and it's really hard to see what's in the future because they haven't shown us anything. Alarmo came out of nowhere, Mario and Luigi came out of nowhere, Echoes of Wisdom came out of nowhere, and all of that are just like minor examples, but it's really telling where they are right now, where they're putting out these absolute like creative gems that really harken back to like the Wii U era, I think, where they were really, really experimental and doing all this crazy things with their technology and characters, right? Like it feels like for a big chunk of the Switch generation, they were playing it very safe. And what's changed is that they're no longer doing that. And they're coming up with like really crazy out there ideas and making them huge success stories. I think Zelda was a huge success story. I think Princess Peach was a huge success story. And I think F-Zero is going to be a huge success story. Just like Emio, just like Kid Icarus Uprising back in the day, just like Fire Emblem Awakening. Like, this is going to be the franchise. This is going to be the game that brings F-Zero back and makes it relevant once again.